Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Advocacy at Work. I am your host, Tim McDonald, and today I am very honored to be welcoming Vincent Lanci, who is a fellow Tampa Bay area resident with me. How you doing, Vincent?
Doing great, Tim. Thanks so much for having me, and hello to everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
It's so, we were just talking before we hit record, and it's like so nice. We feel like we've known each other, I think, for years, but we just actually met last month when he had me as a guest on his podcast called A Mental Health Break. But I won't go into too far into what you get involved with. I'll let you introduce yourself, Vincent.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be here. Tim's a great pillar for the Tampa community, especially in the mental health space. My name is Vincent A. Lanci, and I went to school for finance and MBA, but my journey took a spin when I was left for dead. I made the decision to get in the car with someone drinking and driving or walk home. I took the safe route home and ended up getting hit by a car that left a bar. Fast forward, I woke up out of a coma at Tampa General Hospital. Relearned to walk and talk, spell my name, you name it, had to restart life. And that shifted my perspective on what's most important, right? Finance major, going for a big salary, corner office job title, to not being as fulfilled in the roles I was in the field. So I took the difficult step back and battled the itty bitty committee in my head and put my first book out, Left for Dead, back in 2019.
Wow. And I have read a little bit about you after we connected, and your story is just amazing. And I love what you're doing. But before we get too far into our conversation, can you just define what advocacy means to you when it comes to patient advocacy?
Advocacy to me is sharing your story. A lot of us, including myself at first, thought, why would anyone care what I have to say? What does my situation matter? But there are so many people in your shoes, maybe not exactly, but traumatic brain injury survivor, hit by a car, right? Broken tib fib. There are communities of people, and in life, it can get lonely, especially as an entrepreneur. I'm alone most of the day. These virtual calls break it up and give me some human to human interaction, but having the power to share your story and recognize that it's not about you. You sharing your story helps so many other people. And through my podcast, as he mentioned, A Mental Health Break, it allowed me to connect with Tim, right? And great people who are doing great work in their communities. His community, the same as mine, right? Which is so impactful because everyone, you are not alone. Please don't ever forget that. It may seem really dark and terrible right now, but after it rains, what happens? The sun always does come out. So you have to keep that in mind. And it's easier said than done, of course, right? We're human. We're hard on ourselves. We give our best friends great advice and then don't take it ourselves. But recognizing that your story can help others, but also help you, right? Through a therapeutic form. And if you haven't applied to be on Tim's show yet, that could be a good place to start.
I love that you bring this up because I found it very healthy for me as well, getting involved in advocacy. And I love your definition of it, just sharing your story. It's really, when the basics come down to it, I think it really is that simple. But I know, like you said, it's not always as easy to do as it is to say. So when you were in that moment before you decided to start publicly sharing your story, kind of what were some of the thoughts you had in your head as far as what was, I know you brought it up just really, really quickly about like, who cares about my story, right? But can you go a little bit deeper at that time and the moment you decided to actually start sharing your story?
It's not that I was embarrassed of it or trying to run from it. I just didn't want to be defined by it, right? Being, oh, that's the kid that got hit by the car. So eventually I went back with Tampa General, and there was these TBI support groups, brain injury support groups, where I started sharing my story, and people, coming up to me after and saying, hey, that really impacted me. That really helped me. Hearing someone say those things makes you kind of want to do it again to help a few more people. And of course, again, I didn't think anyone would care about my story, but once you lean into it a little bit, and that was January 2013, I didn't put out my TBI recovery book until January, the anniversary, 2026. So I was doing some coaching in between, on and off, but I didn't really come that full circle right back to the baseline for 13 years.
Well, and I love that. And I really want to make a point of this. It's One, it's not an overnight success, like where he just said in his head, I'm going to do this and started a podcast and a book. It was literally going for himself to get support and then hearing it from others, the impact that he was having on them. That kind of built up your confidence, right?
Surrounding yourself with great people. And I really work hard to emphasize that in all the shows I do as a guest or even in my own shows. We're not alone. Everything we do is not because of us, right? It's because of the great people around you. When things are going good, that's great. But when things are going bad, who's actually in your corner? Who's going to reach out to you without you reaching out to them? All of these things, who's going to check on you? Those are the people I try to keep close to me because life gets hard and you cannot do it on your own. I find myself being really good at 3 or 4 things in life. Everything else I need help with, right? I'm not the best person for the job, even as a company, right? There are things that I can't do as well as someone I can hire and bring in to be a part of the team, add more value to people. So again, community is a big thing to me.
That's so important, and I really do believe in all that. And I think you can ask any cancer patient or survivor about how their friends and family and relationships have changed since they were diagnosed, and it would be exactly that. You have people show up for you instead of you having to reach out to them, or they just ghost you. But what I'd really like to kind of explore is like next is like, how did that, I know you fast forwarded us 13 years, but how is it kind of evolved from that first time where you started sharing your story in these small group, basically, sessions, up to when you released your book, and then what it's turned into today for you?
Well, the passion has never left, right? It always just makes it fun for me to find new ways to make a difference. I have a mental health book for each age group, which was really exciting to me. Before COVID came, my trajectory was pushing as a school speaker and doing all these amazing things with kids before, it's too late to really influence someone. Schools lost their budget, they lost their staffing, everything in between. It was very challenging for me, I should say, to get into schools. Some were paid. A lot of it was pro bono towards the COVID time. So I had to pivot a bit and started writing more books and coaching people. So with the mental health books here in AMI Kids here in Tampa, I have a book where Mr. Lanci talks mental health. It's 7 days to improve your mental health, 1 day at a time, rinse and repeat. I went 7 times and was able to use a chapter with them each visit to build them. So those things are fun with me. Mental Health Week is a school book where I'm a 5th grade teacher. I take the kids on a mental health week school trip, and like the magic school bus, it's a magic track where you walk around the track and different things come. So I could bring those into the schools. And it's just a joy for me again, because I know as a kid, there were no mental health resources. There were no males, especially speaking about mental health, all of these things. So to let the kids know that, hey, you're not alone, I hope at least will be impactful and meaningful to them as they grow up.
That's amazing. And now I know you, because I've looked at your website, you do a little bit of production too for podcasts for other people. So how did you start from the books into podcasting?
Well, when I wrote Left for Dead in, I think it was October 2019 or November 2019, I said, great, this is awesome. And I challenge everyone, you don't have to use me to help you write the book or coach you for the book, but getting that Amazon author copy is a really, really insane feeling, right? That all the hard work for me, that book was the longest one, 4 or 5 years went into it, get the book. But again, COVID happens, can't school speak, start doing a lot of ghostwriting and book coaching, which is fun. And then people started asking more for podcast help eventually. So you formalize it with, I was Left for Dead. So the company is Left for Dead Incorporated. And then under Left for Dead is Coming Alive podcast production and Living Proof TBI coaching. So Left for Dead to Coming Back Alive. Now we're Living Proof, trying to walk, I'm grateful through the supporters I have in the community, walk them through the timeline of the evolution of, okay, it's not starting with being living proof if something happened. I was left for dead and I have to find a way to come alive again. And then eventually you are living proof that, hey, if I can do it, you can definitely do it, because I am 100% no more special or gifted than anybody else out there, right? I'm just someone who didn't make excuses, went to every meeting, did the little things, because I knew that it would help me become independent again, and I wouldn't have to let someone I've never met ruin my life and my family and friends' lives forever, right? I can work my way back. It just may not look the same.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think our minds are so powerful that we don't even give it enough credit sometimes for how much of an impact it can have on the outcomes of some of the obstacles and challenges that we face in life. So, and I'm not
Absolutely.
like an expert on this, but I'm like, I think we've both been through something that helped us realize it a lot. So I really appreciate you saying that. Um, Looking at, the work that you do, I mean, I know it's kind of turned into some, business ventures for you, but also like, I know it's beyond the dollars that hit your bank account. How do you measure the impact that you have?
Well, I think it's just rare, right? It doesn't happen often, but hey, that talk really helped me, Vin. Or hey, I really enjoyed that episode. You'll get an email. In life, especially podcasting, you're not going to keep doing something you don't like to do. There are a lot of hats to wear in podcasting, right? My 8-step system, networking, preparing, recording, editing, uploading, follow up with the guests, market, rinse and repeat. That can get taxing if you don't like what you're doing. So having the passion behind it, I think, helps a great deal. And I talked about how the TBI book took so long to come full circle. We started with That Entrepreneur Show, where we bring on founders of companies and brands from around the world. And then a mental health break a few months or maybe a month apart, 2019 and 2020 before the pandemic. But I needed to keep niching down, right? The next one was Pod O'Clock, where I teach people how to podcast like me. I have a YouTube series, Writing with Authors, because I want to help authors and readers find new books, learn writing tips. So all of this stuff is not easy, but you don't mind the long hours because I enjoy the topics. So if that's any inspiration to everyone, Tim can attest to, life goes quick and then you get hit with something and things get put into perspective. Have you been wasting time? Have you not? It's okay. There's lessons learned in everything. But if my story's any message for you, it's that, hey, if you don't like the opportunities you see, create them yourselves, right? I was a finance grad, ended up getting my MBA, but I didn't like the opportunities that were presented to me at the time, the starting levels. I never had a mentor or a leader in any of my finance roles. I was at some great companies like Merrill Lynch, PricewaterhouseCoopers, but no one really had taken me under their wing, or maybe I'd still be there. So for me, I was stopped doing things that maybe weren't the best for me post TBI, right? That was my pre TBI path. The more time I wasted, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, financial advising, real estate, all these things to try to stay relevant with my degree. You can't predict getting hit by a car on a walk home, right? Things happen in life. So this is what eventually came natural to me. So with that natural just enjoyment, right? Us recording this here in the morning on a Wednesday, I got my apple juice. I'm excited for the day. And then I'll do one of mine later this afternoon. So the days revolve around this stuff. And you just want to keep going, especially on shows like this. Everyone be sure to subscribe now to this podcast because he's still just getting started and he's got a lot of good value to share.
Oh, thank you, Vincent. I love what you were just sharing. One, because I talk about this a lot in the book too. It's about when you're starting your advocacy journey, you need to find something that you're passionate about to begin with. But then also, and I found this in a couple of guests that I've had on Advocacy at Work podcasts lately about just this niche that they find, and it's usually a void. Like they're searching for something, they can't find it, so they create it. And I think you're alluding to that too, right? Like in what you did. Is that the case for you too?
I just was tired of trying to be 100% the old me, right? Where it is frustrating as I don't remember the old Vincent, but I hear from friends and family, there are a lot of things that are the same. Some things are different, right? So stop forcing things that no longer serve me to live my best life, right? In life, it's going to, again, zoom by. I can't believe how fast every year seems to go faster and faster. And now just find myself in a place surrounded by a lot of great people, continuing to meet new great people like Tim. And I'm real excited to just see where the world takes us, especially you dedicating yourself to advocacy. And everyone be sure to look out for his Bloom interview, because as we're recording this, he's got that coming up and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about doing that tomorrow. Well, tomorrow when we're talking now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
who knows when this will be
yeah.
released? It'll probably already be out. But as we look at this, I'd love to just take a little bit of a break, and from the advocacy talk and get to know you a little bit better. So I have a couple of questions that have nothing to do with advocacy, TBI, traumatic brain injuries, mental health, anything like that. But
Right.
if you're ready, we'll just go. Just whatever pops into your head. You don't need to put a lot of thought into these. But
Sure.
so the first one is, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
Awesome, mine too.
Yeah.
Even though
Blue,
I'm wearing
blue
my
and black.
black "Be
Yeah.
Good to People" shirt today,
And
but
my closet is typically black and blue with a few lighter colors mixed in.
I love it. What is your favorite band or musician?
Favorite band or musician? I listen to a little bit of everything, but I'll do a throwback here. We were playing Little League in the Williamsport tournament. We were big AC/DC fans. Shook Me All Night Long, Shoot to Thrill. Those are some of our favorites.
Oh man, bring me back to my high school days. And what's a place that you've always wanted to visit but haven't yet?
Somewhere I haven't yet. I've been fortunate to expand myself and travel as a remote employee, but I'd say one place I haven't been yet is maybe like, and I'm not a cold person, but something about Antarctica always intrigues me.
Interesting. You're the first one who's brought that one up.
And I'm not a cold, I wear a sweatshirt if it's 80 degrees outside. I'm not, so it might not actually happen, right? But thinking domestically there, um, I haven't been to Texas, so maybe that could be cool somewhere in Texas.
Hmm. Well, I do know there, and this is years ago. I was listening to a Rogan Experience podcast, and he had a guy who did something in Antarctica that was like never done before, and like maybe walking to the south or hiking to the South Pole or something. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is if you do think of going, you should try and find that podcast episode because it talks about the training he went through to prepare for this, and it was like insane.
Yeah, I bet. There, like Mount Rushmore, there's a lot of cool stuff out on the other side of the country that um, might be worth checking out.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I've been to all 50 states so far. I've
Oh,
been I
so
think
cool.
over a dozen international countries over in Europe, and both Mexico, most of the Caribbean, and
Yeah.
Canada. But it's just like the Asia I haven't been to any of yet, and definitely not Antarctica or Australia or anything like that, or
Yeah,
Africa.
Australia's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah, but and then last thing is I know you're pretty open and out there on social media and online and everything, but what is one thing that most people don't know about you?
That I come off very extroverted, but I'm very much post TBI an introvert. I spend majority of my time home, and as many entrepreneurs may be able to relate listening on, there's always something to do, right? There's always something to do. So keeping myself busy with that. And the way I recovered through my experience mainly was rewiring my brain through reading, writing, all these things combined. I was a student who could glance over a study sheet before an exam, get a grade I'm happy with, write B, A, whatever, to a student who had to read, write, type, listen, read, write, type, listen, read, write, type, listen again and again and again to retain just a bit of that information. So these learning modalities are things that, I don't like letting go because keeping the brain busy, I know the power of that, right? They told me I may need 24/7 care the rest of my life. I may not go back to school and that, the list goes on, but through the dedication to the little things I talked about, surrounding yourself with great people, anything is possible. And of course, with that, it's got to be doing something you're happy about. Life passes a lot of people by and then it's too late, right? If you have kids, you can't really just jump careers, right? So if you're someone like me, maybe who does not have kids, you're not in a relationship right now, if you're doing something you don't like, please use my message. It might take some time, 13 years, right? It could take a long time for certain things, but I promise it's worth it. I mean, even Tim, he's a beacon of hope. I'm so glad I met him through his inspirational story. Now, taking it farther, right? Doing news stories, the podcast, the book. So again, I'm so glad we connected because I can't wait to see the LinkedIn updates now since we are.
Absolutely. So what is, if resources were no option, for you, what is one big thing you'd want to see happen in, whether it be the mental health space or specific to TBI or, your advocacy work? What is the one big thing that you would like, if you just said, I could do this, I would be happy?
Well, I'll start it with the question for you, Tim. If you break your wrist, what do you do? What's your process, right? You rehab, you take time, you get surgery if you need. You take time away to make sure you heal properly. Now, what if you're going through a bunch of anxiety at work? You have no sick days, you have no PTO. Why is you not treating your mental health while it's still treatable to prevent it from becoming a lifelong challenge, right? When you take a week to get right, staying home, eating well, getting some sunlight, getting some exercise, doing these natural remedies to prevent you from having a debilitating anxiety, debilitating depression, PTSD, you name it, right? Why can't we take preventative actions like if you broke your wrist for if something's wrong with your mental health? So I'd love to see that. There are a lot of people doing great work in the mental health space. Shout out to Tim, shout out to Johnny Crowder, another Tampa guy with Cope Notes, right? Where he sends you a text every day at a random time, message of hope, right? There are a lot of great mental health advocates, and not just males, of course. Majority are females, and it may be stereotypical, but I get a lot more females apply to a mental health break, and a lot more males apply to that entrepreneur show. So I always try to mix it up, and I was so grateful when you came across the inbox because I knew the power your story had.
I already got a couple other guys that I think I should connect you with to be on your show possibly, and maybe you get you on theirs, because through this whole journey, I've been talking with quite a few people and meeting new people, and it's like some of them are just doing amazing work in this space, just like you. So, but I will do that offline, not share that with everybody. So, one thing that I just like to kind of finish with is just more of a statement. One, you just have an incredible story and are such an inspiration to people, and I just want to encourage everybody to check out Vincent's website at vincentalanci.com. I'll put it in the show notes, so don't worry about how we spell it or anything. But if you're interested in learning about his podcast, working with him to get your own podcast going, seeing what books he has out there and getting those, subscribing to his podcast, anything like that, just visit his site. All the information's on there. You can learn everything you want to know about Vincent there. But if before we leave, Vincent, if you just had one thing that you would like to share with somebody who's just going through this challenging experience with mental health right now, what would that be?
Well, thank you first, Tim, again, for having me on the show, everyone. And if my story resonated with you at all, I'll send you a free ebook, no strings attached, right? If you like it, leave a review or something. But if anything we spoke about today resonates with you, I'm here to help. I have resources. Money doesn't need to be an issue with it. I will send you the PDF just as a thank you for tuning into today's show. And some parting words, Tim, if you're, going through something where things get hard, I'm not going to repeat what I said before, but I'm going to emphasize it, right? It's sunny now because it was already dark. At nighttime, it's dark and it gets sunny today. If it rains, it gets sunny. It only takes one piece of something to bring your momentum to the other side. One conversation, one networking event, one anything. One can change everything. Going to one appointment and getting that good news. Hey, Vince, you're cleared to go back down to Tampa, right? Setting things in motion to be independent again. You never know where that force comes. So just maintain the positivity. I know life gets challenging in many, many ways, but you're alive and healthy. So that's what should count.
I think that's a great place to end it. So thank you so much for being a guest on Advocacy at Work, Vincent. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe. And we would love to, if you have suggestions for other advocates who should be guests on the show, reach out, let me know. And we will see you next week.